What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you about warming up and why it's so vitally important to improve your performance in that session and then also improve the whole training effects of your training. I've actually been asked recently a lot about warming up, which is why I want to address it properly in this video today. Warming up is more than just about going for a light jog or something before your session. It's about improving the relationship between the movement that you're going to perform and your central nervous system, and it can really have a dramatic impact on your performance in that session. There are two stages that we want to consider when we're talking about warming up. We've got a general warm-up and then we've got a specific warm-up. The general warm-up is very simple. It's all about bringing your body temperature up. When our body temperature is higher within a given range, it improves both the speed and intensity of muscle contractions, as well as the electrical activity in that muscle. Basically, it makes you a better performer. This doesn't have to be complicated. If you're living in a hot environment, if you're in a hot country, then you kind of have the warming up, the general warm-up aspect of a training session already covered. It needs very minimal work. If you're in a colder country like Europe in winter, like the UK, then you're going to need to spend a little bit more time getting some blood flowing and raising your core temperature. Even doing something like a hot shower will actually have the desired effect of increasing body temperature and kind of covering this part of the warm-up. Next, we move into the important bit, which is the specific warm-up for the sport or whatever activity we're going to be doing. So I'm going to use body weight training as an example because that's what I do. The specific warm-up is going to educate the body on two things. The first is range of motion, what range of motion we're going to be using. And then the second is how to apply force. So to take care of number one, we always focus on mobilizing what we need for that session at the start of our specific warm-up. Now this is going to vary from activity to activity. If we're doing just general bodyweight training, there's probably not a huge amount of specific mobility that we need to be doing. If we're doing some handstand work, some hand balancing, then maybe we need to work on our overhead mobility so we can get into a better position in the handstand. As a general rule of thumb, we want to start with joint mobilizations first, so whether that is some thoracic spinal extensions on a foam roller, for example. From here, we then want to work on specific mobility drills for the range of motion we want to achieve. Generally speaking, we don't want to use static stretching here to improve our range of motion, unless we are trying to correct postural or movement imbalances. So stretching will reduce the activity and your ability to contract a muscle. So if you overuse a muscle, for example, then static stretching can be used to correct that. But apart from that, we want to leave static stretching. We want to focus on either ballistic or dynamic work to open up ranges of motion, or we can effectively use PNF or proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, contract relax stretching, to improve our range of motion so that we are able and ready to get in the positions that we need to do to perform that training session. So that's number one. Mobility always comes first. Can I get into the range of motion I need to perform the exercises? Number two, we look at priming the central nervous system to apply force. So this is actually very simple. All we need to do is reps of a movement at a moderate intensity. And to keep things simple, we don't need to do some crazy exercises. All we need to do is a similar movement to that we're going to perform in a session. So the best way to warm up for pull-ups is to do pull-ups at a lower intensity. And the best way to warm up for squats is to do squats, etc. This doesn't mean, however, we want to jump into a warm-up set and then do 10 to 15 repetitions. This is just completely overkill. So therefore, all we need to do is a couple of sets, maybe more sets if you're doing a complex movement, whatever it is that you're going to be doing at an easier intensity. Say we're going to be doing weighted pull-ups. We might start with an easy set of 3 to 5 reps of pull-ups. Then we might add a little bit of weight and do a set of 2, add a little bit of weight, do a set of 1, and then we go into our working sets of whatever it is we're going to be going into. All of those warm-up sets should be performed way under our max effort. We shouldn't be anywhere near failure. We're talking a moderate intensity. And that's basically it. You're good to go. If, for example, we were doing a pushing and a pulling movement as our first pair and a pushing and pulling movement as our second pair, we wouldn't need to perform warm-up sets for each exercise we're going to do. We'd already be warmed up from the first pairing. Lastly, I wanted to give you a few tips and tricks of some little extras that you can add into your warm-up that might improve your performance. First of all is the use of isometric. It's been shown that isometrics can improve dynamic strength by up to 20%, which is quite large. This is because isometrics are really good at improving our synchronization and contraction of that pattern. So for example, let's say we're going to train the planche. What we could do is we could do a lower intensity movement at which we focus on really squeezing and contracting the muscles in the correct way that we want to then apply to the planche and really improve our synchronization there. Just for a short period, nothing super intense, and then when we go into the planche, it will improve our ability to do that in an intense move. Next is just manipulating the central nervous system in general. There's two very simple ways we can do this. Number one is caffeine. Caffeine is going to stimulate that sympathetic nervous system, and it's been very, very well proved to improve sporting performance. So, having a coffee 20 minutes before your session is a great way to improve your ability to perform in that session, and a good addition to your warm-up. The next and last one I want to mention is the use of breathing techniques. As I said, we want to stimulate that central nervous system. So one of the ways we can do this is through right nostril breathing. This is actually a yogi technique of improving energy. You've got your left nostril, which is associated with that relaxing and I guess the more yin aspect, and your right nostril is associated with yang. And I think this is to do with the relationship between your left and right brain. So taking a few deep breaths through your right nostril is a great way at improving that nervous system activity and kind of energizing yourself for a session. But that being said, that's kind of everything for today. When it comes to warming up, let's keep it simple. General warm up, get your body temperature up, specific warm up, mobilize what you need to mobilize, do the movements that you're going to be doing in the session just at a lower intensity, and keep the reps low and prime yourself to perform at your best in that session. If you have any questions about warming up, why not leave a comment down below, join the conversation and let me know your thoughts. While you're down there, you can also hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, found it useful, and you're going to apply it to your training. Right next to it is that subscribe button so you can join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe, not miss out on any of these future videos. If you want to learn more about priming yourself for your training and any other bodyweight training tips and tricks, as well as hand balancing, why not come to my London workshop with my man Ulrich that we're hosting this summer, July 2018. There's a link for it in the description down below. But that has been it for this week, guys. Have a strong week and peace.